Hi everybody and welcome back to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. The question is, am I in Arizona or am I in Wyoming? That's right. We come back from 90-degree weather to snow. And we're under a winter weather advisory. That's right. 6 inches of snow today. And if it keeps snowing like this, it's going to be a lot more than 6 inches. But today we're talking about the temperature of the soil and when, my hat's a little weird, when you should be planting your seeds so that they germinate quickly. So let's go look at the gardens. This is how much snow we have already. I think about 3 inches, 4 inches. Now this is one of the raised beds. You can see it's piled with snow. And everybody always talks about your last frost date. You can plant. It's your last frost date. But is that really true? Seriously, it's not really true. Because what you need is a soil temperature. And I'm going to give you some examples of soil temperatures for optimum germination and growth. Because I certainly can't plant right now, but I can plant inside. And we're just a winter wonderland right now, which the moisture, fabulous. Does it look fun? Yes. Do I wish I was back in Arizona? Yes, in some ways. But as you can see, this is one of my pear trees. The buds, they know that spring's coming. And they're just wanting to burst forth. But it's one thing to plant in a raised bed on your frost date, you know, your last frost date. But it's a whole nother thing to plant seeds. Now I'm going to plant beans in this one. I have some garlic that will come up in here too, but there's enough room for me to do some beans. But if that soil temperature isn't above 55 degrees, that bean seed is just going to sit there. And then if you have a wet spring, you're in trouble. Those beans, those peas, whatever, those carrots, whatever you're planting, are going to rot right in the ground. So let's go inside and talk about the temperature of the soil. Well, we're back inside and by one of the windows, and you can see the snow out there still. But welcome to Tips at 5 p.m. This is when I tell you tips, tricks, techniques from all different areas in the suburban homesteader life. Today I find it very important because people are starting seeds inside, and I hear people on videos saying I'm planting my seeds in the soil. But what is the temperature of your soil? This makes the difference on if it will barely germinate well, and then flourish as a plant. And I am going to put a chart up later on in the video, and it will have beets, carrots, lettuce, parsley, all kinds of stuff on the minimum temperature that seed will germinate and the optimal temperature, the perfect temperature that it germinates, it grows strong, it's fast, it's a beautiful plant. Now realistically, I live in Wyoming, and if I waited for my soil to get 75 to 80 degrees before I planted seeds in the soil, I wouldn't have time to grow most vegetables. So I have to take the minimum, the warm enough, that temperature that it will still germinate because it's just barely warm enough. Because I have a lot of things that I don't start inside, I start outside. I know that a lot of people just look at, well, my last frost date is May 15th. And so I'm planting things May 15th. Well, that may work, and it may not work. You have to look every single spring what's happening. Now, if it has snowed and was cold all the way to May 15th, and all of a sudden it's 70 degrees, and you go, oh, I can plant my seeds in the soil. No, you can't. The reason why you can't is because that soil is too cold. Then what happens if it rains or it snows again? And they just sit there and they rot in the soil, and you've wasted your money. It's things to think about. I would really recommend that you buy a soil temperature thermometer. They don't cost very much. You can buy them online. You can buy them in box stores. You can buy them at Walmart. You can buy them hardware stores a lot of times in the spring for a very minimal price. I'll put a link on a couple of them that I've found online. If you have a compost thermometer that you put in, some of them are about this big, some of them are 3 feet long. You can put them in the soil. Go down about 2 to 3 inches. What's the temperature? Push it down farther. What is the temperature at 6 inches? And this can make a difference on what seeds you put in and don't put in. I always recommend that you start some pea seeds and some bean seeds inside, because you never know how rainy it's going to be. And if you start them inside, you can plant them when the temperature is right. And then I always plant another seed right next to it, because you don't know what will happen in your summertime. And that way you get a big bushy bean that actually is 2 plants, and you don't have to worry about it. If the weather stays fine, there's not huge amounts of rain, that other seed is going to germinate. But I think it's important. And with the chart, it'll show you about 20 different seeds, just so you have an idea. And I'll put it in the description below too, so that you can copy and paste it and print it off. Put it in your garden notebook. It will help you. Because it's one thing to look at my last frost date, but if, say, you had a nice spring, it's been warm for weeks before your last frost date, you might try planting some of those seeds. Cover them up if you have to, if it is going to be a cold night. But sometimes our springs are perfect, and I can plant things weeks before my frost date. And other times, it is not the case. Snow. But on this tip, at Tips at 5 p.m., I want you to really think about temperature of the soil versus my last frost date. Not that you're throwing that out, because that is helpful too. But you can't base all of your gardening, your starting seeds, based on your last frost date. I hope you enjoyed that tip. I hope you like, subscribe, share with the world, and I'll post some pictures later on how much snow we get. I'll see you next time.